Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we are diving into a story that has huge implications for South African politics, especially as we inch closer to the 2026 municipal elections. This one takes us straight to KwaZulu-Natal, a province that has been a battleground for decades and often sets the tone for national politics. The African National Congress, the ANC, held what they called a political school on renewal this past Saturday. Now, before you roll your eyes at the phrase, political school, let me tell you, this wasn't just another dull lecture on policy documents. This was a very strategic gathering aimed at breathing life back into a party that's been taking some heavy blows, especially in KZN. The meeting brought together provincial secretaries, the ANC Youth League, the Women's League, and other regional heavyweights. The main agenda: how to fix the cracks within the party, restore discipline, and prepare for the looming 2026 local government elections. It wasn't a rally for the cameras, it was an inward-looking session. Think of it like a football team that's been losing games, retreating into the locker room to figure out why their passes keep missing and why the fans are booing louder each week. KwaZulu-Natal is no ordinary province for the ANC. This is a political heartbeat, one of the most competitive regions in the country. It's also the province where internal divisions, rival factions, and competing loyalties have been most visible. If you look at the ANC's history in KZN, it has been a constant struggle to maintain unity while fighting off rivals like the Inkatha Freedom Party, which has deep roots in the province, and more recently, the MK Party, which has surged by capitalizing on nostalgia around Jacob Zuma. And, of course, we can't forget the economic freedom fighters, the EFF, who are always waiting in the wings to scoop up disillusioned voters. This political school was all about sharpening the ANC's tools, because let's be honest, if the party doesn't get its act together in KwaZulu-Natal, the losses won't just be local. Political analysts are warning that what happens in KZN could shape the entire national balance of power. If the ANC collapses in this province, it could cost them leverage in coalition negotiations, influence over national policy, and even their symbolic image as the party that once commanded loyalty across every corner of South Africa. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Inside this meeting, the conversation was not just about unity as some fluffy concept. It was about practical steps: how to rebuild trust with communities who feel abandoned, how to improve service delivery, and how to pick candidates who won't embarrass the party when they put forward for local elections. Because let's face it, the ANC's biggest own goals often come from parachuting in candidates who are disconnected from the people on the ground, or worse, tainted by corruption scandals. Think about what's happened in recent years. Power cuts, collapsing municipal infrastructure, unemployment, and corruption headlines have created a perfect storm for opposition parties to gain ground. Communities in KwaZulu-Natal have been very vocal about their frustrations. They've staged protests over water shortages, housing delays, and dodgy tender deals. The ANC knows it can't walk into 2026 with the same old playbook and expect people to clap. The leadership emphasized that unity and discipline must come first. They want to see fewer factional battles spilling into the open. For years, ANC structures in KZN have been torn apart by internal fights, sometimes so bitter they end up in court. This time, the party is telling its members to put aside egos and personal ambitions for the sake of survival. Easier said than done, right? If ANC history has taught us anything, it's that factionalism is like stubborn gum stuck to a shoe. It's always there, even when you think you've scraped it off. But here's a twist. Experts say that if the ANC manages to pull off the so-called renewal in KZN, it could set the tone for a broader revival across South Africa. Imagine the headlines: ANC makes a comeback in KZN. That kind of momentum could help them regain confidence nationally. On the flip side, if they fail, it won't just be another provincial loss. It could be a signal that the ANC's hold over South Africa is slipping faster than even their harshest critics expected. And let's not forget the rivals. The MK party, riding the Zuma wave, has been growing in influence, particularly in rural areas and traditional strongholds where Zuma is still seen as a hero. The EFF, meanwhile, is positioning itself as the uncompromising alternative, especially among young people. And the IFP, which some wrote off years ago, is quietly consolidating its base. For the ANC, the 2026 election is shaping up to be a battle on multiple fronts, with no guaranteed safe zones. The party's strategy includes more of these political schools in the coming weeks, focusing on policy discussions, mobilization strategies, and candidate vetting. They know that presenting a united front is not just about optics, it's about survival. They can't afford another season of headlines about ANC councillors fighting each other, or corruption scandals breaking right before election day. So, what does this all mean for ordinary South Africans? Well, if you're in KwaZulu-Natal, you're about to see a lot more ANC activity on the ground. Door-to-door campaigns, community meetings, and promises of renewal are going to become part of the daily political soundtrack. But voters will be watching closely to see whether these promises translate into real change, or whether it's just another round of political theatre. Here's the bigger picture. KwaZulu-Natal has always been a political wildcard. It's the province that can tilt national elections. And right now, it's the province that might determine whether the ANC stabilizes or stumbles further. Saturday's meeting may have been closed door, but the implications are wide open for debate. So, let's put it this way, if the ANC were a football team, KZN is the stadium where the championship could be won or lost. The political school on renewal was their training session. The question is, when the whistle blows in 2026, will they actually score, or will their rivals snatch the trophy? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the ANC has any chance of winning back KwaZulu-Natal, or is the province already lost to the MK party, the IFP, and the EFF? Let us know, we'd love to hear from you. See you next time.